On August 2nd of this year, 2025, I was arrested in Sturgis, South Dakota. I wasn't just arrested, I was beaten as well. This was my very first Sturgis, and we had done our best to make plans. Very grateful for the Facebook groups, they're full of great information. You guys were amazing. We decided we were going to camp at Pappy Hole for the week, and that was our destination. When we got into town, we pulled into the public property, the city park. There were other vehicles there, people enjoying the park. I want to say up front that the people of Sturgis and the whole experience of Sturgis was just fantastic. But now onto the bullshit. We needed to stay there for a short bit for safety reasons before heading on to Pappy Hole and the Full Throttle Saloon. It was around 7:30 a.m. At that time, I got a knock on the door of my Sprinter, which is also my home. We affectionately call our Sprinter Trooper. At the door was an officer telling me that I could not park there. His name was Officer Kimball, Kimbell, badge number 501. With him was Officer Hamblin, Hamblin, badge number 100. I was a bit shocked, but I didn't argue. I said, okay, we will leave. I saw his demeanor instantly, the ego, the thug, the tyrant. He then demanded my ID, and I said, we are happy to leave. I haven't committed a crime, there is no reason to ID. We're happy to leave. He started accusing me of camping, and I responded, I said, I'm not camping. We traveled up here, and we're happy to leave the public property. He then started telling me who I was, what I was doing. He then escalated things quickly and said if I didn't give him my ID, he was going to pull me out of Trooper. Well, that quickly escalated to him trying to attack me. He grabbed the handle and tried to rip the door open and come at me. He then escalated it and told me to get out. Now, him violating my Fourth Amendment rights by crossing the plane between the outside and the inside, he did that when he grabbed hold of my window. Now, the actual videos of all this will be posted in the near future. So at this point, I was very concerned for my safety, my bride's safety. Because of this aggressiveness and lack of understanding of reality, it was all about his ego. About this time, 3 more officers showed up. That's a total of 5. They blocked the front and rear of Trooper so I can't leave. And at the rear of Trooper, I had my trailer with my motorcycle on it. So we couldn't move, but I saw a sergeant get out. I thought to myself, okay, here's the senior officer of POS Kimball. This guy will be reasonable. His name is Sergeant Cisco. The sergeant walks up to the window and says, give me your ID. I said, we're happy to leave. He says, give me your ID and step out. So I grab my ID. I tell my bride at 36 years, I'm going to step out and talk to the sergeant. I hand my ID to the sergeant through the window, and I stepped out. As I turned to shut my door, Officer POS Kimball grabs me from behind, picks me up, and souffles me onto my back onto the asphalt. He then starts yelling, stop resisting. Y'all know where this is going. I had no idea I was being arrested. There was nothing for me to be arrested for. Nobody said I was being arrested. I had no idea my constitutional rights were about to be violated for not committing a crime. And when he yelled, stop resisting, well, you know, that means that they're going to try and set you up. Well, he then picks me up and puts the torture cuffs on me. And when he does, my right wrist gets cut. He's got them on incorrectly, and it's very painful. So I asked him, I said, give me a click on the right one. It's very painful, it hurts. Well, POS Officer Kimball, looked at it, goes, no, it's on correctly. Well, if it was on correctly, why is my wrist cut and why is it digging into my wrist bone? I mean, why the fuck was I in cuffs anyway? POS Kimball then threw me back into the back of his police car, and the sergeant came up. He had some questions for me and asked me what was going on. I said, ask your officer POS Kimball. We haven't done anything, and this is completely unreasonable. You know, we are fortunate people to be born into this constitutional republic where we are allowed to be reasonable. Well, Sergeant Cisco then said, you're being arrested. They took me to the Meade County Jail. They booked me, fingerprinted me, and took my mug shots and threw me in a jail cell. While they were booking me, they asked for my social security number. I replied, you have my ID, I don't want to use a social security number. Their response was extortion. If you give us your social security number, you'll be out of here in a few hours. If you don't, we will keep you in here for 2 days. I was in there for about 5 hours waiting for the judge to decide my fate. My body beaten, my freedom taken from me by armed thugs, locked behind a cage, nothing to do. It's about as helpless feeling I've ever had. It was made exponentially more difficult because my freedom was taken from me for doing nothing wrong. The only thing you can do is fight back, and that's what I'm doing. Ultimately, I had to post a $250 bond and agree to be in court at 9 a.m. Monday the 4th. I had to sign paperwork, and when I did, I wrote under duress. Now, while I was in jail, my bride had parked Trooper with the trailer outside of the Meade County Jail Court. She was parked on a public street. She even went into the court building and asked if she was okay parked where she was, and she was told yes. Here's a picture of where she was parked. While she waited for news on when I might get out, Officer P.O.S. Kimball, along with Officer Hamblin, came up to her and Trooper, told her she couldn't park there, and demanded her identification, proof of insurance, proof of registration, and made her get out. Then they started to question her about Trooper. She was terrified. They asked where she was going to be staying. Unfortunately, she found the courage to tell them she was not comfortable answering that question. They were trying to find a reason to run her up, trying to find a reason to take my private property. It was pure thuggery and intimidation. Now, Trooper is a 2005 Dodge Sprinter, made during the Daimler Chrysler years by Mercedes. These two fucking idiots started asking her why there was a Mercedes motor in a Dodge that was made by Mercedes. To my bride, it felt like they were going to try and find some reason to take Trooper. Now, Monday morning, 9 a.m., I was in the court, the 4th Judicial Court. When I went before the judge was reading the charges. The city attorney speaks up. He says, "We're dropping the obstructing an officer and resisting arrest charges." Yes, I was charged with that bullshit. They also charged me with camping, and if I pled guilty to camping, they would drop those other two charges. Yes, extortion. They violate your constitutional rights. They commit a crime, and then they try to handcuff you so you can't come back after them. Well, you can't handcuff me like that. And as far as that goes, no man will ever handcuff me again. You cannot be guilty of something that is unconstitutional. So with the charges dropped, the judge asked if I had anything to say. So I made an oral motion for a restraining order on those officers so we could freely enjoy our week at the Sturgis rally. The judge just put on a goofy grin and said, "I get it. You had a bad experience, but I'm not going to issue that restraining order." Actually, he said he can't. So I immediately went next door to the police station to file a complaint against Officer P.O.S. Kimball. And as fate would have it, it was Officer Cisco that was taking my complaint, the man who I gave my identification to and told me to get out of Trooper. The conversation blew my mind. Their reasoning and lack of reality to what they have sworn to protect, being the Constitution and we the people, who are their bosses, and the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, it was like they had no clue. It was just justification. I'll move on and there'll be more on that coming up. The next day I was having trouble breathing. I was in severe pain. That put me at the doorsteps of urgent care at the Monument Hospital. My lungs filling with fluid and other injuries. I won't go too much into the injuries at this point. Now these thugs, these criminals, this blue gang of beta male gangbangers had beat up a healthy 58-year-old man because of their egos, narcissism, their tyrannical psychopathic ways. They did damage to my body, which I am still dealing with and probably will for the rest of my life. All that for what? Egos? They locked me in a jail, committed false imprisonment. They changed my life forever. They harassed and intimidated my bride. The things that we had planned and worked for suddenly changed. For what? And unfortunately, my case is not isolated. We see this by the tens of thousands across our country. The forefathers of this constitutional republic did an amazing job protecting our rights and creating an opportunity for a reasonable future. They had seen the control of tyranny, the control of other men on other men. They gave us a constitution. Prior to and since then, this constitution has been protected by the lives of millions and millions of people of this constitutional republic. Now it's my turn to fight for the people. I will stand up. I will not stand for this tyranny. I will fight back with everything that our constitution allows. Everything that our constitution allows me to fight with. I will win these cases, and the citizens of this constitutional republic will have another case law that they can quote when the thugs come after them and violate their rights. These law enforcement officers and individuals swear an oath to protect the Constitution of this constitutional republic. They swear an oath to protect the Constitution of South Dakota. These sworn oaths are their commitment to protect we the people. They are our servants, and we trust them to protect us and to uphold our constitutional rights, our God-given rights, our human rights. My beating and arrest was nothing more than childish retaliation because an officer's feelings, ego, got hurt. It's my opinion that the officers who perpetrate this type of injustice and the leadership that condone it on paper under their own signatures are tyrants who truly despise what the United States once stood for. To them, freedom is nothing but a tool, not a right. It's something they can take from you when their feelings are hurt while collecting revenue for the state. The actions you will see displayed in the upcoming videos don't display strong men that put principles first. It shows weak beta males that choose insecure and immature actions you expect from a 7-year-old assigned to a hall monitor position. It's unconstitutional and un-American. When these officers spoke, it was astounding their lack of respect for our Constitution or our rights. Well, I immediately filed complaints and have filed FOIA requests. And as expected, the Assistant Chief of Police, Brian Paulson, has since said he did an investigation into Officer P.O.S. Kimball and found no wrongdoing. Surprise, surprise. Well, we expected that. It's complicity to shield from accountability. One only has to do a quick Google search and you'll find many police chiefs and senior personnel that have issued statements supporting their officers after something heinous has been done to another human being. You'll hear them speak of supporting an officer who just gunned down an unarmed man. Well, fortunately, you'll also find that some of these officers get fired or go to jail. Senior leadership lying to the public. This justice only happens if you fight back. And also, as expected, the judge who was reviewing my FOIA request is trying to make it difficult and told me I had to come in for a hearing. Well, if you are not familiar with FOIA requests, you do not have to state why you want the information. He wants me to explain why I want this information. Well, everybody knows why I want it. Because we're fighting back. And we're going to take them on. So at this stage, I have filed a document responding to the judge, and I've heard nothing back. Today is October 14th. I filed that document on September 25th. The judge I am dealing with right now is the Honorable Judge Callahan, 4th Judicial Circuit, Sturgis, South Dakota. As a side note, if you want to file something with the clerk of courts, you have to either walk it in, snail mail it, or fax it. So I ask you all to join me. I have started a new Facebook page and social medias under the name Sturgis Audit. I will keep everyone up to date on these socials, as well as provide updates and information I experience, as well as hopefully learn from you, from others. So go over, please follow Sturgis Audit, and share any experiences of insights or insights you have as well. I know there will be continued pushback from the gang of corrupt government thugs, and I will fight back. I served my country many years ago. I will do my best now to fight for the good brothers and sisters of this constitutional republic. So subscribe to Sturgis Audit and let the ass kicking begin. And like my hat says, my demons know I fight back.